The big news coming out of Baton Rouge, Aneesah Morrow commits to the LSU Tigers. LSU women's basketball building a dynasty. As we welcome you into the Go 24/7 podcast, Bryce Koon alongside Dylan Sanders. Dylan, it's just not even fair at this point. I mean, this was a massive pickup. Haley Van Lith and now Aneesah Morrow. I mean, this kind of ridiculous, the talent that's being brought in by Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, I mean, it's reminiscent of the older rosters of like UConn and the heights of South Carolina. Like they're good at every moment. And it's just crazy to me that Kim Mulkey said, you know what, let's go win a national championship in year 2 and then bring back a better and deeper team the next year.
Yeah, I feel like you could count on one hand, how many college national champions, whatever sport, win a national title and then get better, like significantly better. And one example, staying in the SEC, was like Georgia this past year. I don't think anyone said they would be significantly better than they were the year before. But this LSU women's basketball team, I think people can say this is going to be a better roster, now obviously on paper, than what they had last season. And it's going to be a front court, Dylan, that I don't think that there's a better one in the country.
No, there isn't. And it's not the tallest front court, I guess. Aneesah Morrow is 6'1", Angel Reese 6'3", but they both play like 5 inches above their height, it seems like. I think it's with their speed and intensity down low, they grab so many rebounds, and they together they averaged like 25 rebounds last year by themselves, mostly on offense, which is really like the sneaky stat that kills them, is that not only do they get a bunch of rebounds, it's like all the offensive rebounds and the second chance points that they get because of it.
You wrote a piece, obviously came out on Friday. We're recording this on Saturday morning. Kind of about how Morrow fits into this and how you feel that she can help LSU get back to a national championship. So for the folks that haven't read it yet, let's give them a little preview. I mean, Dylan, what does the addition of Morrow do to this roster and the weapons that Kim Mulkey can utilize, night in and night out?
Well, everybody's job just got a lot easier on offense. It was already easier because you have like a Haley Van Lith. But now at all 5 spots, no matter who's playing, you're going to have 5 offensive threats at every time, like every second of the game. So there is no chance to double team anymore, really. Yeah. And the thing about Morrow is the sneaky thing, I think, because people look at her. She's a big. She does crash the inside, but she can shoot, which is crazy. It's kind of not. She's not Angel Reese, but if she could shoot, but kind of like, but she's kind of like that. Because Angel Reese is probably a little bit better inside because of her height and speed and strength combination. But Morrow can pull it from 3. She can shoot the long 2. She can shoot the mid range. She's an all level scorer, more than 3 level. She's an all level scorer. Maybe not the most consistent from 3, but she can shoot it. And then then she has nights where she's on, like she'll shoot like 6 of 10 from 3, and then also have 10 offensive rebounds and stuff. Like it's just fun to watch. So in offense, it just adds another weapon, adds another level of confidence on the court. Someone will be there and can shoot it at any moment if need be. And then on defense, she's not going to have the height of LaDasia Williams, who she's going to be replacing in that starting lineup. But she is, again, really fast and has extremely fast hands, which is underrated in terms of getting the ball, like stealing the ball. She is great at stealing the ball because she's smart. She knows when the passes are coming, but also has the fast hands to get in there and rip the ball out of your hands and force a turnover, which is something that LSU, not that they didn't have, but she's more of a thief than anyone that they had before. And then also has that defensive intensity that they would be missing otherwise.
Yeah, you talk about intensity. I mean, this is a player that DePaul and LSU, I believe, had one common opponent last year, and it was Miami. And where LSU struggled offensively in that game, it was Morrow who had the intensity and balled out, I mean, in that game. And so is there any, I would guess there's not, because the conversation obviously happened in Baton Rouge during the visit. We all know Morrow canceled her visit to South Carolina, which kind of, threw up the sign that this was going to happen, she was going to commit to Kim Mulkey. But when you talk about a player of her caliber coming in, is there a better coach? And you got to cover, obviously you were in Dallas, finished, but is there a coach that can manage personalities as well as Kim Mulkey has, just in her short tenure at LSU? I mean, you talk about the personalities this roster had last year. I don't know what Morrow is like off the court. I haven't watched any of her press conferences or anything, but I imagine you have another high-level player that really, wants to make it to the next level. It's going to be an interesting task to see how Mulkey kind of handles all these and juggles the personalities on this roster.
I'm going to tell a story that I think encapsulates why Mulkey's different, and maybe how they get these players to buy in. Flau'jae Johnson's coming in for her visit. She's been going to all these schools. The schools will ask her, rap or basketball, which one? Because she does both. They say, which one's important to you? Which one do you choose if you had to choose one? She gets to LSU, and on her visit, Kim Mulkey brings her to a studio and says, rap for me. That's different. That's not the experience you're going to get anywhere else. She tells these players, like, hey, be yourself. We're going to support you in all your endeavors. We're going to give you the platform you need to succeed on and off the court. And it kind of just has worked so far. Yeah. But also is an extremely strong competitor whenever it comes time to play basketball. And those are the type of players that she's getting. Everyone will tell you no one would argue more. No one would be at each other's throats more than Angel Reese and Alexis Morris. Whenever it came time to play, they were a great duo. And then whenever it was off the court, they loved each other. But whenever that time was on, Angel Reese and Alexis Morris, you'd swear that they hated each other because how competitive they got. But it was managed, and everyone got along on that team. And that's where we're at now. And obviously you're adding a bunch of more explosive, fiery personalities like Haley Van Lith. But as we've seen, what is their coach going to act like? The same exact way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like she's holding up a mirror in front of all these players. Like, y'all are going to be intense. I'm going to be intense. Let's just win.
And I think that mentality, and want to get your thoughts on this, I think it helps when you return a roster and you add pieces. And I mean, it would be very surprising if this team is not preseason number one when the way too early rankings come out. But it helps the competitive fire, because I don't see that Angel Reese is going to allow anyone to rest on, we won last year. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case. And I don't also think it's going to be something that Mulkey is going to have to institute from day one. Like, this feels very much like a player-led group, and Mulkey is there to help facilitate and utilize and take them, and be that guidance. She's a great coach, don't get me wrong. I just think this is very player-led. And so do you echo that sentiment where even adding these pieces, they're not going to rest on, we won last year, we can kind of coast to the SEC? Now, I mean, I think they're pretty determined, and they're showing it right now, adding in the portal. They want to not only win another one, they want to dominate.
And it's not only player-led, it's player-recruited. Who do you think was putting in the hours trying to get these players? Yeah. It was Angel Reese. It was Flau'jae. Like, they went out of their way to try and get these players here. And it's the kind of thing where they all believe that they can play together and they all believe they can work together. And hey, if you think that you're going to be able to just say, you know what, we're going to take it easy. You got 2 more players coming in that are coming in for a championship, and they're not going to back down. And they're not going to let you take a day off. Like, they're going to be intense because, hey, we saw what y'all did last year. Let's go do that now. Mm-hmm. And then you also have like Michaela Williams coming in, which we haven't even mentioned yet. But the fact that you have Michaela Williams coming in along with the 2 best transfers in the country, it's just like we've never seen a team add. I feel like we've never seen the team add this much talent in 1 year before. I mean, that's the portal. That's the transfer portal.
Yeah. It's the portal, and you talk about the way they recruited Morrow. I don't know if you saw the tweet, but it was off of or really based off of come off of Morrow's TikTok. And Dylan, I don't know if you venture on the TikTok app, but I do. If you do, then you know what I'm talking about.
I'm Gen Z. I go on TikTok.
So Morrow posted on TikTok, the picture like of her hotel room when she got in Baton Rouge, and I don't know if you saw the video, but it's like it's the the purple and gold everywhere, an image saying, "Are you the missing piece?" I mean, the recruiting pitch that you're talking about from Kim Mulkey, pretty much saying, "Hey, listen, we won it last year. We're going to be better this year, and we want you to come be a part of it." She chose LSU. I think ESPN had reported a couple weeks ago she'd been contacted by like 33 teams, and then obviously narrowed it down. Southern Cal was kind of in there, USC, and then, as I call them, USC Junior.
The 2 USCs is how I've been referring to
it. The 2 USCs. But, I mean, just for this to go LSU's way, man, what's the reaction around the country? I mean, if you're, I don't know if you saw this, and for folks listening, you're saying this podcast's going off the rails. Well, this is because they let the young guys take it. But I'll say this: if you're listening, you won't be able to see it, and I'm not going to show it, so you can't see it on YouTube, anyways. But Dylan, do you remember the 2018 NBA Finals graphic that had like the Warriors? So it had like the big 3 that the Warriors had at the time, and then the graphic had also
was it LeBron?
It was LeBron, Tristan
and Kyle Korver.
And Kyle Korver. Now listen, I was a Hawks fan, still am a little bit. Loved Kyle Korver when he was in Atlanta, and he's in front office there now. And it said, "Oh my gosh, this is Iowa against LSU in 2024. Like, this is what it's going to look like." And it kind of feels like that. Like, if you're Iowa, if you're even to an extent like South Carolina, and they've added some nice pieces, but I mean, when you look at this, there's no doubt in my mind that this team should be number 1 coming into the season. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this. I think it's must-see TV every single time they play.
And this, I mean, I've been having the conversation with people, and I think I've come to agreement with a lot of people that women's college basketball is the best college sport right now in terms of the level it's being played, the star power, the coaching is incredible. Everything about it's superior to the professional sport. And the WNBA is great right now too, but they have their own problems in terms of not having enough teams. They have their own issues. But where women's college basketball is right now, it's at a different level than most other sports. I mean, college football is college football, but it's in an impressive spot where there are stars all over the country. There are going to be teams gunning for LSU every week. The sentiment I'll fight back on is that there are a lot of people saying LSU is building this team to beat Iowa. They just beat Iowa without it, so I don't really know how that works. But I mean, there are going to be teams like UConn that fight back. There are going to be other good teams, and all I have to say is in terms of the reaction around the country. Get ready to root for the bad guys. LSU is the bad guys. They're going to be the hated team. They're going to be the gun for team, not only because they're building a super team, but because of how they play and how they act on the court. It's going to be obnoxious it's going to be one of those teams where you're probably going to not be a fan of it if you're not a fan of LSU, but if you're a fan of LSU, you're going to love it and you're going to ride or die for this team.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of that, I sit in the camp of if Angel Reese was on your team, you'd love it.
Yeah.
When she's not, you don't love it. Like that's
I'm
and that's fine. That's fine. If you're not a fan of LSU, like you're not gonna like it, and I get that. If Angel Reese was somewhere else, LSU fans probably wouldn't like to see what is she doing, stuff like that. So it's an interesting dynamic there with those two. But I'm telling you, it's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, look, you see what LSU brings to the table in the sense of the recruiting pitch. You saw the TikToks. I have to link that down on the board for people to see the tweet. I mean, just an all-around effort, and I can't believe that after you got to go to Dallas and watch this, that we're on the precipice of seeing this team's going to be the favorite. I mean, I don't know what the Vegas odds are going to come out with. You have to think they're going to be the favorite to win it again with a talented roster with Kim Mulkey. But like you said, it's going to be different. And so we end the podcast right here, Dylan. I mean, how does this team respond, in your opinion, now with a target on their back? I mean, last season they won a lot of games, but it still felt like they were kind of the underdog. They may be underachieved, losing in the SEC tournament to Tennessee. How do you think they respond now having the target on their back and being, like you said, the big bad bully in the room?
I don't have any doubt in my team in this team that they can switch gears, and the good teams still view themselves as the hunted always. They viewed themselves as the hunted for weeks. By the time the season was over, talking to them, they're like, hey, we are the team that people are coming to beat because of how we act, because of how we play. So that was already their mindset. And now they just have more fuel to that. And so I think it's just going to be a bit of trying to carry over how you were feeling in that national championship to how you wanted to, because I don't think it's any secret that everyone wanted Caitlin Clark to win that, and they knew that. So they already felt like, hey, people don't like us. We're being hunted. We're the team that people want to beat. We were the team that everyone wants to lose. Let's go prove them wrong. And so that's how it felt like their mindset already was, talking to them. So to just bring that over into this season.
It's going to be fun to watch. There was an article, and I think this is the perfect way to end today's show. It said, America, be prepared to get sick of this LSU women's basketball team. And folks down in Baton Rouge will absolutely not get sick of it, and they will absolutely love it. Hey, this has been the Go 24/7 podcast. Dylan Sanders along Bryce Koon coming at you on a Saturday. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Dylan, don't know if you heard, and neither of the other two guys have heard exactly my plans, but if we get to 3,000 subscribers, what we're going to do is a little interactive, could be dangerous, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Letting some of the subscribers and the fans interact with us on the show. And so that'll be a lot of fun.
That is scary.
I'll have to get my editing tool ready to go for that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're almost there. I think we're like 48 away from hitting that 3K mark. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. But if you're listening on the podcast and you want to continue to find these in your feed, make sure to follow, subscribe, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcast. And finally, last but certainly not least, headed over to Go 24/7. The best news surrounding someone, I would think, I've only been on covering the team for now 4 months. Best all-around athletics I think I've seen in the country. It's going to be a lot of fun to continue talking. I had my first real Paul Skeens experience last night, and holy cow. Dylan, wow, just wow. That could be a whole other podcast, a whole other day, the Paul Skeens experience. It'll be a documentary one day for sure. Hey, we'll catch you next time here on the Go 24/7 podcast.